So it's very refreshing to hear a doctor say, hey, these things are wrong. These are the things we need to fix. And basically, if your doctor is not doing ongoing education, if your doctor went to medical school 30 years ago and has just been practicing ever since and doesn't keep up on things, he's behind, and that's keeping you behind. Welcome to the Carnivore Revolution. I'm Serena.
And I'm Jess. Today we are going to be talking about our top 10 must-read carnivore / motivational books. And Serena and I will both share 5 each.
Yes. So my first one is The Great Plant-Based Con by Jane Buxton. This is a really great book about how and why we have been told that we should eat a vegan or primarily vegetarian diet, and why we should avoid animal foods. And from personal experience, I can say that when I was living the Great Plant-Based Con, it did not work out as well for me as I had hoped. But meanwhile, the carnivore diet has done wonders for me. So that's definitely a great book to read.
And my first suggestion that I always tell everyone is Why We Get Sick by Ben Bikman. He isn't a carnivore, but it is still just a great book that breaks down insulin resistance and how it's linked to basically every chronic disease that you see in the world today. So it's very, very detailed. It's not a book that you can just passively read or passively listen to if you're listening to it on an audio recording. So it definitely is a book you want to focus and take notes and highlight and listen to multiple times because it is packed full of great information.
Another book like that is The Big Fat Surprise by Nina Schultz. This book is amazing. Jess and I have both read it 4 times. I'm actually about to order the paperback copy so I can do all of the highlighting and writing in the book. I've just listened to the Audible 4 times, but every time I listen to it, I hear something else that just gets me so excited for the carnivore diet and the reason that we are here and the reason that we are doing this. It's probably one of the best books that I have ever read, just as far as information goes, and talks about how we ended up where we are, how we ended up, with Americans and really mostly the world being overweight and sick. And this has the history of that and how it happened. And it's just truly a treasure to read.
And the next book that I suggest to people who are starting the carnivore diet is The Carnivore Cure by Judy Cho. I think right now it is only available in the audio version, but I believe that she is going to come out with a new print version soon. So definitely recommend getting that in the print version as well, because it's another one that you're going to want to highlight and take notes and have physically in front of you. But it is also really valuable information if you are just able to listen to it. But it basically is a whole in-depth breakdown of guide of how to do the carnivore diet and how to do it for you individually or you specifically and according to your needs. And it's so great. Definitely recommend it to anyone who's starting the carnivore diet and has questions, not sure what to do. Get Carnivore Cure by Judy Cho.
And another great book as far as why are we sick? Why are we where we are? And why won't my doctor help me? Is Lies My Doctor Told Me by Ken Berry. Now he's a doctor. So it's very refreshing to hear a doctor say, hey, these things are wrong. These are the things we need to fix. And basically, if your doctor is not doing ongoing education, your doctor is behind the times as far as nutrition and health goes. If your doctor went to medical school 30 years ago and has just been practicing ever since and doesn't keep up on things, he's behind, and that's keeping you behind. And so this book is a really great way to see. And then you can go in and you can question your doctor with this book. It doesn't have to be, offensive or like a derogatory conversation, but you can take this book into your doctor and say, hey, these are the things I'm having a problem with, and I feel like you're not helping me. And it can really open up that line of communication with your doctor. So that's a great book that I highly recommend.
Yeah, that one's really easy to read too. That's definitely one you could probably listen to if you're listening to it in less than a day. Like you just pop it on, do some housework, and you've listened to a whole book before you know it. Another one that I recommend if people are interested in the environmental impact of eating meat is Sacred Cow by Diana Rodgers and Rob Wolf. It is a great book that debunks basically all of the misinformation that is going around, especially by people in the plant-based communities, regarding how much greenhouse gas emissions are being, like, cows produce, that livestock produce, and the environmental impact of livestock. It is really, they go into all the science behind it and all of the numbers and statistics and debunk everything, very detailed. So if the environmental impact and sustainability is one of the reasons that you, or one of the things that you're trepidatious about with carnivore, because you've heard all of these things, definitely look into that book. There's also a documentary that they made. If you're not a book reader and you just want to watch something, they made a documentary that is also really great too.
And then we'll move on to the other books that we think everybody should read. And these books aren't really self-help books, but things that might help you. And before we do that, if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe below. My first book that is not a nutrition book would be Atomic Habits by James Clear. This is a really great book if you're like me and have a really hard time sticking with things. I have honestly never started some sort of a challenge and then completed it. That's just not who I am. I always have to go back and redo things, with the exception of the Lion Diet for 30 days. I was actually able to do that. But just in general, I'm one of those people that I set up challenges for myself and then I just kind of make excuses and don't finish it. And Atomic Habits really helped me to see why I do that and how I can get around those things, and just basically how much better of a person I can be and how much better I can feel if I actually get those habits started and continue to do them. So that's a great book to read.
My first book that always comes to my mind when people ask me about mindset and things like that is How to Own Your Own Mind by Napoleon Hill. It's a hard book to start. It's very interesting. It's basically just an interview between Napoleon Hill and Andrew Carnegie, and he just is asking the questions and Andrew Carnegie is answering the questions. But once you kind of get into the mindset of the book, it starts to get really, really interesting. So it's definitely hard to start, but once you're into it, it's worth it. I promise. It is an amazing book. Basically, he's sharing all of his secrets of how he became uber successful and just daily habits and things like that, and just the easy things that you can do to help get yourself to a point in your life where you feel like you're successful.
And my last book that I'll recommend is The Mountain Is You by Brianna Weiss. And this book is really just about, a lot of times I say to people when they're trying carnivore or don't want to try carnivore, or they say to me things like, oh, I could never do what you're doing. That's too hard. Or I could never give up my fill in the blank. And I always say to people, get out of your own way. You're in your own way then. If you can look at me and see how much better I feel, how much healthier I am, how much better my mental state is with the way that I am eating now, and then say, oh, I could never do that because I couldn't give up bananas, or I couldn't give up chocolate, or whatever your fill in the blank is, then you're standing in your own way. And so that's basically what this book is about, is that you're the mountain that's in your way. And if you can get out of your own way, you can accomplish great things.
My final book is, it's called You Are the Placebo by Joe Dispenza, and it's a little bit out there. So just fair warning, it's a little woo-woo, as they say. So just, if you are interested in checking it out, just know that it kind of sounds crazy. It sounds like a crazy person is writing it. But if you kind of just go with the flow and just accept the book and just see where it takes you and just open your mind up to what he is saying, it is really cool, actually. And it can actually completely change your perspective on how you approach like challenges, how you think about living your life, how you think about reaching your goals. It is a complete mindset shift book of just how you look at the world. It is really, really interesting. I definitely don't believe everything that he preaches in the book, but I think there are some really valuable nuggets of information that just completely changed how I view the world. And I definitely recommend people at least give it a shot.
So what are some books that you would recommend to other people? Put them in the comments. We'll see you next time here on the Carnivore Revolution.